Dude, Google needs to have like better lists, bro. Like this is some of them, but it's not all of them by any means whatsoever. Is there a good list that someone can find of all for sure. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, this is like almost all the big ones. Wait a second, I know this actor. This actor is really good. There is this really terrible show on what is it called? On some British television. And it was called MI5. No, actually, here is called MI5. But in England, where it first aired, where it was and everything, it was just called Spooks. Which is a great name because that's what they called spies there. And it had like a revolving door of just murdering all the main characters, and it was like, oh, we're being shocking by murdering yet another character. You're just like, oh my god, this is kind of annoying. And he was one of the main actors in seasons, I think one, two, and three. I watched the entire show with my mom, so that's why I know it. She loves British television, and he was like the highlight, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this guy, like, the show kind of fucking sucked, but he is a great actor. So I had no idea he was in another movie. Well, I mean, I'm glad he is. He had the acting chops, so I might have to actually watch this movie at some point. Anyway, that was a random diatribe. So this looks like it has like pretty much all of the movies that actually came out, and they're like the ones that actually like aired on what's it called on the movie theaters. Some of them are a little too small. Amityville, Bigfoot, yeah, that did not for sure. Yeah, there's oh my god. Dude, this movie fucking sucked, man. I love horror. This is like one of the worst horror movies that I've seen in like years. Founders Day was dog shit. I wonder which ones he's gonna pick. All right, let's see it. Let's see it. Jeremy Jahns' worst movies of 2024. Like I said, one of the only movie YouTubers I actually respect. So let us ring in 2025. And
But for supplies, we need
he's
supplies.
he's great.
Supplies.
So we're gonna link the video afterwards as well. Supplies. So he always pours out a cup of whiskey while he's reviewing the worst movies of 2025. Because for anyone who doesn't know Jeremy Jahns, he rates movies on a scale of not only if they're good or bad, but also if they're like middling, if you need a drink when you watch it or not, which is a very useful scale. I find it to be very, very useful. So there's like some movies that are just like, yeah, if you turn your brain off, you have a glass of beer or whatever, you can enjoy the movie a little bit better. It's like one of those like have fun movies. Or do you need to drown your sorrows in whiskey after you watch the movie? That kind of scale as well, which is really, really cool. I love Jeremy Jahns, so let's watch it. So he, of course, rings in the worst movies every year by drinking like copious amounts of whiskey with it. So cheers to that.
That was actually a line from the movie Explorers. Yeah, that might be way too
I don't know
much.
that
I'm
one.
not looking at the list. It's
Bad CGI
not quite enough.
sharks?
Making a
I'd
top
watch
10
that.
list, it's hard. Top
Yeah.
10 best list.
I like him because like Douglas Doug movies like that are just like silly and they're not like particularly bad movies, but they're fun bad. He gives a higher rating to Douglas Doug. That's why I like him a lot. Like he's like me, he's like you. He's like a normal guy that's like, just enjoys movies. He likes the really cinematic ones for sure, but he doesn't mind the ones that are like just for fun. He appreciates the just for fun, which is really nice.
Every year is difficult. More difficult is making the top 10 worst list, because let's face it,
There's a lot of shit.
bullshit that comes out in any given year. And only 10 slots to fill, which means
Man, he's so smart. Look at him. Look at him agreeing with me. He's so smart, dude. He is so smart.
when you watch this video and inevitably think to yourself, where's this movie? Weird, it's not on the list. Just so many spaces.
Yep.
I did what I could to kind of put as many as I could on here. You'll see. As always, for my list, these are not reviews. I do actually have reviews for all these movies on my YouTube.
I would say that if you are making a list, and I've watched a lot of movies this year because, I've been taking a lot of care of my dad and everything. And so, one of the things that you can do, I couldn't really stream as much in the, the latter quarter of the year since October. But I've been watching a lot of movies on streaming sites, Amazon and Max and all those. And, actually, not even Netflix. Netflix is too expensive right now. But one of the things that I've been doing is watching a lot of movies that came out this year that, you know, moved to streaming services, because it goes a lot faster now to put the movies onto streaming services. One of the only good things that has come out of COVID is the fact that streaming services, the movies move faster to, which is really nice for me. And so one of the things that I have watched a lot of are the movies that came out in 2024, specifically with my dad. And dude, there are so many terrible, terrible horror movies that came out this year. So I'm hoping, because he's a guy like me, he appreciates good horror and he hates bad horror, not cheesy horror. We like cheesy horror. He hates bad horror. And guys, there have been like maybe 7, 8 like terrible fucking horror movies. Like actual dog shit horror movies that came out in 2024. And if I was him, the entire list for 2024 for a top 10 worst movies would just be those movies for me. I'm hoping he grouped those up, because otherwise the entire list will be shitty horror from 2024. There's been some really good ones, but also a lot of shitty ones. And Mushi never realized that. Yep, I come up with the good ones.
Channel. Anyhow, without further ado, sit back, relax,
yes.
and talk about the top 10 worst movies
Welcome,
of
Drag Knox. Happy
2024,
New Year.
per my personal opinion.
Yes.
Starting with
number 10.
You know,
all right,
recency
let's see it, baby.
bias is a real thing. Nothing wrong with it, but it's usually used to illustrate a positive. It's like, oh, you think that movie's cool because you just saw it yesterday,
right?
Kind of thing.
Recency
but
bias.
Recency bias does work for a negative. Case in point, I still have Mufasa in my head.
Oh my god, dude. This movie was like, why, Disney, did you bother making it? Why would you do this? Mufasa is dead. Like, we've had like 5 sequels of The Lion King, only 2 of which were like even remotely decent, not even good. And none of them were better than, you know, the original Lion King. We've had 2 live action remakes of The Lion King. Sorry. We've had 1 live action remake. I think 1 live. Right, yeah, this is like the second one. And yeah, like, dude, why? Why bother? Like, just stop it. And you know Disney's running out of ideas when they made this. This movie is just terrible. Is this the one with Beyonce's kid? I have no idea, actually, if it's Beyonce's kid. I watched in, let's just say, not legal way to watch the movie. Not fully, a good way to watch the movie. Because I knew this movie was going to be dog. And I wanted to watch something with my dad that we could laugh at. And guys, let me tell you, I was correct. I am so glad that I did not, and this came out on the 20th. This just came out like literally 10 days ago. I am so glad that people are just like ripping movies of like, at least the really, really terrible ones, and just like slapping it online for everyone to watch. Because if I had wasted $25 and risked COVID, and then also had to pay for, you know, the $25 of like, just the movie ticket, and then like another 10 for like parking and all that, and like, had to waste my time during the day to do that and all that, I would feel terrible. So thank God I watched this illegally.
As a massive waste
of time. It was really bad. It was really, really bad.
I should stand a little over here so you can actually see the poster.
No one wants to.
Continuing the trend of useless, forced live
Madagascar
action
is
Disney
good.
remakes. It's
Absolutely.
not actually a remake. It's a prequel. It's also not live action, so there's that. It's a prequel no one asked for The Lion King that The Lion King never needed. I would say the characters are as forgettable as the music, but the characters are from The Lion King. But that's the only reason you remember them. And yet,
and they butcher every character as well, by the way, guys. Like, oh my god. Like, they try to make Scar sympathetic. They try to do this, like, pathetic crap in every single prequel-style movie that they make. And this one is no different. It is drastically, easily, completely agreed, one of the worst 10 movies that came out this year. 100% agree.
Right. The music in the musical, completely forgettable.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, I don't know, maybe.
Becoming king.
I personally think he's overrated.
Scar's fall.
I'm not gonna lie.
And that was the laziest turn I think I've ever seen in a movie. I bought none of it. Sonic 3 did kick Mufasa's ass in the box office, though.
And it should.
Good.
You know what? Based, deserved. Here, let me move my head so we can see Jeremy Jahns' wonderful face and beard. I'll move my face to the bottom. Yeah, it came out on like, what is it, like the same day or like almost the exact same day as Sonic 3. In Sonic 3, is like, let's see the and Sonic 3 is one of my I haven't even seen, that's one of the movies I've not seen yet, and because I want to watch good movies, in proper quality. A terrible movie I'll watch illegally, but like, a good movie I'll spend the dosh on because it deserves it. I want to see Sonic 3 so bad. Yeah, Sonic 2 and 1 were so good. Sonic 3 box office. I'm gonna look at that, and then I'm gonna look at Mufasa. Let's do that. Versus Mufasa. Oh, I think someone's already searched for this. Let's see the numbers, boys. Let's see the numbers. Okay. Give me the numbers. Give me the numbers. Box Office Pro. This will probably have it. Sonic 3 in the first week 2 at $38 million. Total cumulative 137 million. Okay, so that's a W. This did really good. Sonic 3 did W. That's good. All right, let's see Mufasa. 113. That's actually better than I expected. And 328 global? How? Okay, so weirdly, Sonic 3 did really good domestically and did poorer in global. And Mufasa, wow, okay, I didn't expect that. Amazing. And that is wild. That is actually wild. Holy shit. I'm shocked. I expected the numbers to be different. Wow. Dude, can you imagine being one of the $328 million around the world that wasted their money on Mufasa? Man, I would be so disappointed. I would be disappointed in myself if I wasted money on this movie.
It needs to happen.
It was actually so bad.
It's the only way they listen is money. There's still time to turn back, Disney, before you butcher Tangled. In fact, you might be able to cut Lilo and Stitch right now, take the tax write-off, or you can keep...
Oh, God. Are they making a Lilo and Stitch sequel, guys? Say it ain't so, man. Lilo and Stitch... Oh, God. Say it ain't so. Legacy? Say it ain't so. Number 9.
Next up, Founders Day. Yes, in any...
What did I say when we were looking up the list? Dude, Jeremy Jahns is too based. I was going down the list and I was like, I watched this on, I think it was Amazon Prime. I watched this with my dad. It was so bad, bro. This is one of the worst. This one was like they tried to do almost like a Purge feeling, but it was like worse than the Purge in every single way. It was just bad, bro. It was just so bad. Like at least the Purge has some like wild action and like some like slasherisms and stuff like that. And this was like just not. It was bad, bro. It was just bad.
Given year, there are a lot of horror movies.
Antonio Banderas is the best. We love him.
Actually, a good year for horror.
Yeah.
When I was making this list.
Yeah. No. I would disagree with Jeremy Jahns here just a little bit. It's not a good year for horror. It's a polarizing year for horror. The movies that came out in horror for 2024, for some reason, a lot of movies came out for horror this year, and they were either really good or really bad. And there was several really good ones and several really bad ones. I'm sure they're going to be on his list, and this is one of the really bad ones.
I realized it was also a bad year for
horror. Yeah,
Founders
exactly.
Day's generic dollar store Scream. It feels like someone watched Scream recently.
Yeah, it was like Scream plus The Purge, and it did neither of the aspects well. It just sucked.
It also just got into politics and said, hey, let's merge the two. Make it feel like the most generic slasher flick.
And Purge did that decently.
No need to even keep talking about this one. In a saturated market like slasher flicks, I don't see
completely
why you would
forgettable
watch this over most any other one.
Yeah.
Number
Agree.
8.
Agree.
Speaking of generic slasher flicks, The Strangers got a remake. Well, The Strangers Chapter 1.
I actually did not see this. I saw the original Strangers. Original Strangers is terrible. But The Strangers for the remake, I actually didn't even know this came out. I didn't bother watching this one. I didn't even bother knowing about it. And you know what? Genuinely, I'm glad that occurred. The pauses on his face are golden. Yeah, you know why? Because he's like a normal guy werewolf, and he has like normal expressions, which is really nice. So he has a very expressive face. I appreciate him. Like I said, werewolf. I'll link the video afterwards. Jeremy Jahns is like, in my opinion, the only good YouTuber that covers movies. Period. full stop. I don't watch pretty much any. I try to watch, if their new guy comes out, I'm like, let's see if this guy's decent or not. But like none of them compared to Jeremy Jahns. He's like the only guy who's like actually legitimate and genuine, and I appreciate that. In a world of dog on YouTube, authenticity is prime, and he is authentic to a T.
Original Strangers movie really surprised me when I watched it back in the day. Somehow studios
Original Strangers is good.
That magic.
Yeah.
They just never have. Dipshit characters making all the wrong decisions. Yep. When I say generic slasher, I mean it.
Like all the movies, what is it called? Scary movies. Like the spoof ones that make fun of like the terrible things in horror. This a lot of the most recent horror, the bad ones just do it, but not ironically.
There were a couple moments where I was like, they're being so stupid, it's funny.
Yeah.
There is that. Movie still ass, though. But it is called
Movie
Chapter 1.
still ass.
Prequel? No. It's because there's going to be a Chapter 2. God help us all.
God help us all! No!
And this was about the point making this list when I realized over half of the real estate of this top 10 list was going to be horror.
So true, bro. So true. Anytime someone agrees with me, it makes them smarter. Jeremy Jahns always agrees with me. That's why he's so smart, guys. That's why.
Have that happen. So number 7, Night Swim.
Yep.
Tarot. Imaginary. They all get to...
I watched all 3 of these. All 3 of these were bad. I was really upset about Tarot because Tarot had an interesting premise. The rest of them did not even have good premises. Like, dude, as soon as, like, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's makers, I was like, oh, God. I mean, to be fair, Megan was good. Like, I did watch Megan. Megan was, like, unironically a W movie. Like, that was a good horror. Yeah, Imaginary, oh, God. But Night Swim was weird, but, like, it had some, like, panache, but it didn't really have much. I wouldn't say it's like the worst movie, but Tarot was inherently completely disappointing. Like, such a good premise, so wasted.
Be number 7. They
so
all deserve
wasted
to be on this list with only so many slots available, so that's the
he combined them.
I come up with as an answer. Night Swim, the short film that works as a short film, but drawing it out to a feature film runtime just makes it feel padded.
If the movie was half an hour long and like a half hour like YouTube video made or whatever like that, it would have been perfect. The fact that it was in, what is it, like 98 minutes or whatever. Oh God.
Useless, boring. Tarot, the generic horror MacGuffin film, which was what Cabin in the Woods was poking at.
Yes.
It's like someone watched Cabin.
If you want to see it, he's so right, dude. If you want to see a good movie that is like kind of, remember, it's one of my favorite horror series of all time is Scream, and one of the reasons is because it kind of deconstructs horror and it kind of pokes fun at it while also producing a good horror movie. It does all of those things combined. Not every single sequel, some of them are good, some of them are less good. But in general, is one of the more consistent horror series for sure. Tarot was trying to do kind of like the same thing, except it failed on every level.
Cabin in the Woods.
True.
Like, instead of elevating
Cabin in the Woods does that as well.
Out that entire genre.
Cabin in the Woods is really good.
Offering nothing new. Watch the trailer. The movie is as generic as the trailer looks. Imaginary, a world where imaginary friends aren't so imaginary.
Yep.
Could be cool, but the movie lacks
imagination.
I don't know what.
I just knew he was gonna say it. I just knew he's so cheesy, dude. He has the cheesiest one-liners. I love Jeremy Jahns.
Take all 3 of these. Flush them right down the toilet.
True.
Number 6.
You think Josh
All right,
assisted
so
on that one? Yeah.
Also horror, but it's a Stephen King adaptation, so it is a bit different. It's just,
oh wait, I think I know what this one is.
Because there was a day it showed us, hey, maybe modern Stephen King adaptations have kind of found.
No, it was a fluke. Most Stephen King is dog. I'm not gonna lie. What Stephen King movie came out this year?
On to stride. But
I don't think I saw this one.
Stephen King adaptations, Gerald's Game aside, that showed us no. It was a fluke. Salem's Lot was one of them, and fellow.
Oh, crap. This is so sad. This one is so sad. I didn't see this one. Yeah, I did not see this one. And the reason it's sad is because The Conjuring is so W. Like, The Conjuring is really, really good. It is really, really good. And so, the creator of the Conjuring universe, I thought this one was going to be all right. I didn't end up seeing this, and now I'm very glad. and very sad at the same time. That sucks.
Fans of the book,
that sucks.
We took it personally. The book was a slow burn, not going to say it's not, but the phrase slow burn implies payoff. This adaptation did not have that. No, it was just slow. It was a slog. It was boring. The cool moments in the book didn't even exist in here. The movie was delayed for a couple years and it just kind of quietly released on Max.
If you're watching this and you are a big Stephen King fan, guys, It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2 are easily, like, actually, unironically, It Chapter 1 is better than the books. Because the books do, like, some weird crap with, like, let's just say awkward, terrible things with kids that shouldn't be done. And the movie doesn't have any of that. They just took all that shit out. No orgies that shouldn't happen. Exactly. And the movie just takes all that out. But it leaves in all the good stuff. So unironically, It Chapter 1 is better than the book. And I've read the book. And It Chapter 2 is just good. And it has, like, some stunning acting by, like, comedic actors as well. Like the guy from one of the better guys from Saturday Night Live. He has a role in It Chapter 2 and he, like, steals the scene. He's so good. For pretty much every scene that he's in. I think it's James McAvoy in that one as well, and he's really good as well.
After watching it, it's completely clear as to why. 1979 Toby Hooper Salem's Lot, it was better and scary.
I watched that. 1979 Salem's Lot is actually good. It's one of the, I like classic horror. A lot of classic horror is really good.
Number 5.
I didn't even think of that one.
As you probably know, I'm a huge fan of the Joker, just the character.
Thank God. The Joker 2 was easily one of the worst movies, contender of worst movie ever made for me. Like, I would say if I had a top 10 list of worst movies ever made, it might actually be on that list. Like, oh my God. I don't think a movie has been universally disliked this year more than the Joker 2. I think that movie was unironic, absolute fucking dog shit in every way. It failed as a musical, it failed as a movie, it failed as a Joker movie, it failed in every single solitary way. I'm just looking down this list to see if there's any other movies that, like, probably are worse this year. I would put that as my number one worst movie. I don't know what else Jeremy Jahns has for his worst movies, but this is my worst movie of the year. Bar none. Joker 2.
And I love,
like, I would say, like, you know, Borderlands is, like, way up there. Madam Web is way up there, but I would rate those as better movies than the Joker 2.
Todd Phillips Joker movie. I thought it was a cool, interesting,
new take. You know, and I didn't even like the Joker one that much.
Standalone that made over $1 billion. Studio said, "Hey, here's a check. Let's make a sequel."
The cash grab.
All said you weren't gonna do. Now we have Joker. Folie à deux. It's like the movie missed everything
absolute
that made the
dog.
Original good. You could have gone anywhere with a Joker sequel. You could have taken absolute dog. One of 100 things. In the end, it was made to be a weird love story, tap dancing musical. This movie was so bad, negatively received by fans. And
as soon as I found out it was a musical, there's a video that I made for the trailer, and I was like, "Wait a second, it's gonna be a musical. This is a little worrying to me." And I got so much hate on that video. Of people being like, "Oh my God, it's Todd Phillips. The Joker one was so good. You gotta believe in this." No, I don't gotta believe in this. And guess what, guys? I was fucking right.
Hated. There are theories.
This is my worst movie.
How it even exists.
Absolutely.
Theories that
absolutely.
Todd Phillips took the studio money and just made a piece of shit out of spite. I just feel like Occam's razor says Todd Phillips tried to do something different. And it just didn't work. If we're keeping with the baseball metaphor of swings, taking a big swing, I get it. But people don't come for the swings alone. They come for the home runs that come as a result.
It has to actually be good. It can't just be doing risky things. It has to actually perform.
With a strikeout is still a strikeout. I can appreciate a big swing as much
Intricate
as
Happy New Year.
However, if for the Batman 2, Matt Reeves makes it some slapstick comedy crossover with the Three Stooges, that would be a big swing. It would also be stupid. Like Joker Folie à deux. And just in case Warner Brothers is watching this video on the off chance, I want them to know that this movie made this list before you even gave me that bitch-ass copyright claim for my review.
Wait, they copyright claimed him? Dude, this is why, like, I actually don't cover a lot of movie news on here, because every single trailer that I've ever shown and everything has been copyright claimed. And I don't, I can't monetize those videos. I'll watch them with you guys on stream, but I usually cannot, put those on YouTube. It's so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. Man, dude, music and movies copyright claim like crazy. And I'm not talking about, like, putting up the entire movie. Those things should be copyrighted. But, like, these things where you're, like, talking about the movie and stuff. You have too many scenes that are, like, contiguous and stuff for the movie, even if it's, like, the trailer and stuff. They copyright claim you.
Review.
It's crazy,
bro. This movie
bro.
already made the list because this movie was always trash.
Yes. Always trash. 100%. Worst movie of the year for me.
Man, I almost crushed all the Sony Spider-Man verse, not Spider.
There it is. There it is. Yep. Hey, Madam Web is like my 4th worst movie of the year. It was easily terrible. Like, I mean, it was just cheesy. It wasn't well acted. Everything about it sucked.
This one, and while Craven was boring, I'm gonna go ahead and let Madam Web shine alone.
Craven was fun. Craven had some fun aspects. The violence in Craven was good. The action scenes in Craven was good. The premise was better than the payoff, and it wasn't a good movie. But, like, it had some aspects. Madam Web had nothing.
In this spotlight,
Madam Web had nothing.
It was the movie this year to show us how bad, if not memeable, 2024 could actually get.
Absolutely.
Might become a cult classic
Danny Annie,
down
welcome.
the line, one of those so bad it's fun kind of things. I do not discount that. I do love the fact that Dakota Johnson was talking shit about the movie before the movie actually came out, and Sydney Sweeney using this meme.
Sydney Sweeney memed this movie so hard she became successful.
But if you ever wanted a blueprint on how to not make a
which was great.
That's pretty
Which was hilarious.
If you have this Spider-Man verse without Spider-Man, but it is part of its own universe, why not have Craven hunt Venom if they're in the same universe?
That's a great idea. I'd watch that.
Anyhow.
Craven had some W. Venom had some W's.
Rebel Moon Part 1 came out last year, and I said, well, let's see where this goes.
See, this didn't even go on my list mentally because I didn't watch it. I watched Rebel Moon Part 1, and it was dog shit. So I didn't even bother watching Part 2.
Part 2. Then I watched Part 2. And
Thank God he did. I wouldn't.
Fuck you for wasting my time. The Scargiver, Rebel Moon Part 2.
Dude, the first movie is so bad.
Slog. Dollar Store 7 Samurai in space.
Man.
On a moon, so I guess it's not space, just elsewhere. Poor Sofia Boutella had to have that dipshit.
She's a good actress.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I hope she got paid well. Get the bag. You know what I'm saying.
The hair hazard pay. That'd be great.
Bonus. I also hate the business tactic of it, and I've seen it more and more.
Make
a shitty movie on the promise that, well, there's a director's cut coming out.
And the Snyder Ultra fans that suck his dick on Twitter and on YouTube, they literally watch all of his director cuts as well. That's why he does it. That's why he does it. I hate it.
Movie twice.
I hate that successful.
Certainly not watching a longer version of it. I hate the fact that it does make me look at it from the Lucasfilm perspective and go, yeah, I can see why they passed on this.
When Lucasfilm did a W.
Those idiots passed on
exactly. This. Lucasfilm is already so bad now.
Number 2.
What a world indeed.
Video game adaptations. There's still
Borderlands was bad, but I would say it's like number 5 on my list of worst movies of the year. Borderlands was a terrible movie.
Still around. There have been some good ones.
But Joker's worse.
Usually reserved for being a series.
I was gonna say Borderlands.
Borderlands is not that. Borderlands is
as soon as he said it.
Never grew up, never grew out of the frat house, and wrote a shitty sci-fi action comedy.
And I love the Borderlands games. I'm so sad.
The actors look zombified as they're floating through this nonsense for their.
The only good thing about this entire movie was that Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Jamie Lee Curtis basically got a free paycheck. That's it.
Paycheck, but they're all horribly miscast.
They just got a free paycheck.
Eli Roth, usually known for violence and gore and the general disjointed clusterfuck that this movie feels like. I could see it being a situation where this movie was written and filmed to be a rated R film,
and then it got nuked.
Like, hey,
PG-13.
Make it happen.
Studios fucked this movie.
Out. I get it. And I empathize
Studios
with the situation.
This
but on the consumer level, it's all about what are the fans going to have to sit through? A disjointed, unfunny sci-fi slog.
Completely agreed.
Special effects and noticeable green screen. But moving on.
True. Worst movie. Let's see. Let's see what Jeremy says.
And here it is, the number one spot. The movie that, well, it just...
I know it has to be. The Crow. It has to be The Crow. So the original Crow, Brandon Lee, came out in what, like 1990 or something like that? Super long ago. I actually grew up on The Crow. I love that fucking movie. And it started from a graphic novel. The original Crow is so good. And the sequel for it, Brandon Lee died in the making of the movie.
I've told you this before. My brother and
the new Crow was so bad.
Watch a bad movie.
And it's wild that Bill Skarsgård is in one of the worst horror movies ever, and in one of the best ones of the year as well, in Nosferatu.
Just because, you know, I guess talking
in a few minutes, yeah, exactly.
Movies is a brotherly thing to do. We have fun, but he loves the original Crow. So do I. But I'm really morally conflicted.
The original Crow is so good.
Show him the 2024 Crow.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to take it from him. You know, I don't want to show him how they massacred his boy. It's funny that Bill Skarsgård is in my favorite and least favorite movies of 2024.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but there's that.
How is he in both the best and the worst? This is wild.
Take what you know to be the Crow and then crumple it up.
Not even Bill Skarsgård could save the movie.
Blender, flush it down the toilet with imaginary taro and... what was the other? Night Swim. And you'll kind of have a sense of what I'm talking about.
This is one of the worst movies. I would say this is my number 2 worst movie of the year.
It's an adaptation of the source material.
Sure.
It's nothing like the source material.
Absolutely.
The 1994 Crow is
Dog
far more
movie.
accurate to the James O'Barr graphic novel than the 2024 Crow film is. Eric Draven in the character is not seen anywhere on here. Eric Draven in the Crow, Spectre.
I think he got paid for this one, Werewolf. I think the studios were like, Bill Skarsgård stars rising. We're gonna give him a boatload of money. That's the only way I can see this happening.
Total killing spree, murdering people who had nothing to do with you and Shelley's
Dude,
murder.
the Crow murders innocents in this movie by the dozens, bro.
Night shift because I work
it's so wild
for my family. This dude just came in.
It's so stupid.
Cherry on top, he decides to traumatize
an
entire auditorium of opera goers, throwing a couple heads in.
That's like one of the last scenes of the movie. It's like one of the climax of the movie.
There's no relatable human connection to ground the supernatural resurrection revenge story. There's no Sarah character, Ernie Hudson character.
And there's also no chemistry between Bill Skarsgård and the character who dies that he's like, you know, trying to avenge. There's none. There's no real chemistry. They're just like, oh yeah, we met at rehab, we're gonna have copious amounts of sex, and that's it. It's as shallow as relationships are in 2024.
Heard about the Crow.
That's right.
The characters not only come across.
They had a situationship that brought him back from the dead.
To James O'Barr.
Stupidest thing I've ever seen.
In the first place. It makes me wonder why
Real.
It's called the Crow,
I know.
Because what is the Crow in the movie? What does the Crow do? This glass of scotch is more of a character than the Crow is in the Crow. The Crow City of Angels is a better movie. The Crow City of Angels is a better movie than the 2024 Crow.
And Crow City of Angels is not a good movie, by the way.
And that's it. That's my list of 10. Well, slightly more than 10, but 10 worst movies of 2024.
That's a good list.
Barring a GTA 6 trailer dropping later today, this should be the last video
a good
of
list.
2024 from me to you. Another sincere thank you once again from me to you.
Dude, he's the only good one to watch, guys. Everyone who's watching this, watch his stuff.
Drink responsibly. But as the fact
Absolutely.
remains, 2024 gave us a lot of movies that can be categorized under
intricate. I agree.
What are the
I am
top
too.
10 worst movies of 2024?
I completely agree.
Whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like,
give the video a like and a sub.
Here to see more.
I'm gonna link it in the bottom. Absolutely. Jeremy Jahns with one of the most banger lists. I almost agree with it all, except for the fact that I would put Joker 2 at the top of the list. I would also add a couple other movies, and I'll try to like think of them. I think one of the other worst movies of 2024 that he didn't talk about. I think Argyle was terrible. Like Argyle was I love the actor who plays Superman. Brain is melting. and he was like, you know, only in 5 minutes of the movie. It like, dude, this movie was so bad. Bryce Dallas Howard was like, oh my god, dude, like she was like fucking like they were CGIing the crap out of her to make her look exciting. Dude, this movie was this is one of my worst movies of the year. I would say it's like number 8 for me. This is absolutely one of my worst movies of the year, and he didn't mention, which is totally fair. But like I would say that one. I think that anyone else? I think Challengers was like, I think it was well acted, but as a movie, this movie was dog. Like literally dog. Ghostbusters, I wanted to like this movie so badly because I simp for Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd, and not even Paul Rudd could save this movie. So I wouldn't say it's like the worst movie, but it's definitely one of my most disappointing movies. I would say that. Like just at a sheer level of disappointment, this almost makes my top 10 list of worst movies. I think it's just sad that how middling it was. But yeah, those are the top 10 worst movies of the year. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys agree? Do you guys have another movie that should belong on the list worse than the ones listed? Let me know, and Happy New Year. Catch you in the next video.